Back at Dover and back underway in the NBNA.com 200. Ryan Newman leads. Matt Kenseth is second. Jimmy Spencer third. Mike McLaughlin fourth. And Greg Biffle is fifth.
Well, what we've seen so far, if Kenseth is going to do anything with a 0-2 car, he better do it quickly.
Right, because like you said earlier, BP, Ryan Newman's car is a little bit loose on new tires. They got to wait for that fuel to burn off. Then that car gets really fast.
And here's Chad Little trying to get on the inside of Greg Biffle, a battle for the 5th position.
Problem is the lap car. Jeffrey Morai was there. Ron Hornaday had gone up and just scraped the wall in the middle of 1 and 2, and you just caught the end of it when he came back down into traffic.
And Kevin Harvick, the points leader of the 2 car, trying to get by. Looks like the Hornaday has flattened the right side of the vehicle.
Ron falling back. He's in 21st place now and losing ground. No, they did not get the problem on Mike Skinner's car fixed. It still sounds somewhat sick.
Kevin Grubb, the 37 car, back in 24th position.
Here's what happened to Hornaday.
That's the gray area. There's no traction up there. All that dirt and debris, it's like a sheet of ice.
Kevin Harvick.
Coming back down the track there. That left car, watch him. He's really still going, clear low, clear low. He's outside up there, left car.
Kevin Harvick spotter. All right, Newman's got this thing. Oh, and we see Kenny Wallace, the 48 car, trying to get on the inside of Biffle, and Biffle very loose off turn 2.
This is 6th place. Dave Burns.
Alan, Greg Biffle came in during that pit stop, and they had a 16.5-second stop, which is a pretty good one, considering they put a rubber in the right rear. That takes a little bit of extra time. But the problem was when he came into his pit, he had to swing wide around Jimmy Spencer's car and crew, and he got into his pit really deep. And so when he tried to leave, Chad Little's car right in front of him was actually in a fairly good position, but Biffle couldn't make the turn to get around him, so they had to push his car back, and they lost at least one spot on pit road that they wouldn't have otherwise.
You know, and I was watching that happen, and another problem was Chad had to come in and swing tight, and he actually hit the tire, the right front tire, off of Biffle's car into one of his own crew guys, and that cost him a few seconds in his pit stop.
Let's go back and take a look at those 2 drivers on the track a couple of laps ago. Things got interesting.
There we see Chad Little, the 74 car, and Biffle, the 60, and whoa!
Now see, Biffle was already loose before Chad got there. Chad didn't initiate that. That 60 car was loose when he got there, and I don't think Chad had anything to do with that.
I agree with that. But Biffle might be like the 0-2 car of Ryan Newman. He's very loose right now, but as he burns fuel and gets 30-40 laps into this run, it may be much better than it was the last time when it was very tight.
But didn't they say they put a rubber in the right rear?
Yeah. It was tight the last time, and they're trying to fix that problem. It's way too loose right now. It may get better as he burns fuel, kind of like we saw the 0-2 car.
The second on back to the same line.
Jamie McMurray in the 27, Kevin LePage in the 71. This is 8th and 9th spot. McMurray's doing a great job today. Young driver just making his 2nd start ever here at Dover in the Williams car. Finished 19th here in June. And McMurray started in 16th place. He's running in the top 10 trouble.
Dion Ciccarelli has backed it in the wall, and the caution flag is out. Turn 2.
The monster bit him.
The monster reached out and grabbed hold of him and chewed up the back end of that car.
Severn, Maryland is Ciccarelli's hometown. Former competitor on the NASCAR Weekly Racing Series at the Old Dominion Speedway. Dave Burns.
Well, Ron Hornaday thought he had a right rear flat, and that was the reason why he figured he got a little caught up in the wall there. But now they've got something deeper on the car, and Ron has taken the steering wheel off. I believe he feels the motor is done. and they are looking it over and saying it's over for Ron Hornaday. So wasn't a particularly good car to begin with for Ron, and it's really gone downhill from there.
Fourth caution of the race, Dion Ciccarelli involved. And here's a look at what happened.
Well, can't see too much from that angle.
No other cars around, so we would just assume that as he got down in the corner, the car got up from under him and he backed her in the fence.
He got an experience lesson at Dover.
Yes, he
That's
did.
what happened.
And you know, those experience lessons are so expensive.
Yes, they are. So under caution here, just past halfway, Ryan Newman is your leader.
Back at Dover Downs International Speedway, where we are under caution at the moment, and Ron Hornaday has been having some trouble with his car. Ron, at first we thought maybe it was just a tire situation, but then I guess the motor let go.
Well, I thought it was a tire, but it's sure a lot of fun to run this channel lock Monte Carlo. But I just guess a fitting came loose or something. We went in the corner and the car really turned sideways and didn't think nothing of it. I wiggled it around for a couple laps and the car was pretty good. So I just went back to the front and started trying to go back to the front, and motor locked up. So I think I ran it out of water, and I got to thank these guys. A lot of fun to come over and run this Busch stuff. But our thoughts and prayers are with all the victims out there. And Al here, he's missing his brother right now, and hopefully we can find him soon.
Well, and Al, they had 2 pit stops already, and Al told me earlier that he nailed him and he got all the fuel in. But I know your thoughts are elsewhere for your brother Peter. Does this help you get back to normal a little bit?
Well, I guess as much as we can, I guess.
I think that's everybody's attitude. It's time to get back to life as normal, but you never really can. And of course, his thoughts are still with finding his brother, and he'll be back to New York City soon.
Boy, we wish him well. Back at it. 112 laps in the books. Kenseth trying to do something with Newman for the lead.
On board with Matt Kenseth as he goes down in turn 1. That Ryan Newman car right on the bottom of the racetrack.
Just drove away. They can talk about how much horsepower this team's all they want. That car's working good in the corners right now. Right through the center of the corner, that 02 car is hooked up.
Here comes Spencer closing in third. Marty has more on the leader.
Well, remember how we talked about at the very beginning of the race? He was loose at the beginning of the run. They made that track bar adjustment in an attempt to tighten him up at the beginning of the run. He was just a little bit snug, and as he described the car under the caution, it's perfect right now. So I think Matt Kenseth's going to have his hands full trying to catch Ryan Newman. And one thing to throw in, if we go green, Ryan Newman's team say they can go all the way without stopping again.
Wow. That's over 100 laps. Although a few of the laps have been run under the caution flag. A lot of racing.
A lot of racing.
On one tank of fuel.
While we watch the leaders, a couple of quick updates. Kevin Harvick is back in 21st spot. Second man in points, Jason Keller, is in 14th. Here's a race for 5th. It's Chad Little and Greg Biffle again.
Well, Chad Little was in front of Biffle, and on the restart, somehow, Biffle got back in front of the 74 car, and here they are again.
Still there. Still there. Still there.
It's Jack Roush talking to Greg Biffle, we're hearing.
Still there. They're low.
No, not yet, Jack.
Inside. He's back in there.
Yeah, he is, Jack. Might have been an early call on that clear low.
Still inside there. Still there.
Greg Biffle, the 60 car, really is not getting through 3 and 4 very well. He's doing well here, but he isn't able to get through 3 and 4 very
Back
well.
inside. He's inside there. There'll be 4 of them if they start. There. Now you're clear low.
On board with Greg Biffle as out of the back bumper, he looks back at the 74. But look at the 74 come through 1 and 2.
Talked to Bill Baumgartner, Chad Little's car owner, this morning. He said, my 2 cars, Chad Little and Tony Raines, will run to the front today. He said, you know, there are worse things for one of my drivers than a visit to the NASCAR trailer. It's a visit to my office on Monday morning.
You're clear. You're all clear.
Now, if I heard correctly, the 60 car had to get out of the gas there about 3/4 through the turn, and that's where you see Chad really grab him.
He's inside. He's barely inside. He's in there. Up to your door. Clear behind him if you want it.
Right there. Go, Chad. Slide her up there.
It was probably just what Greg Biffle wanted to hear. There's room behind him.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of this.
Here, Biffle just playing with the throttle. The whole object of when the car is really handling, the driver's able to just wade right back in the throttle. Let's take a lap, folks. Right along with Greg Biffle as he tries to keep up with the 74. And listen.
78 to go, 78.
Turning back to the right.
That look like that car's pushing down to me.
No, it's very loose. When he turns that thing back to the right, folks, he's trying to catch the back end. Jeffrey Bodine, the Phillips 66 car, moves over. Lets Biffle go by on the outside.
Thing interesting to point out, if you watch the position of the steering wheel on the straightaway,
Clear low.
these straightaways are banked as steeply as the corners at some tracks. So when he's going down the straightaways, he's got the wheel turned to the right to keep the car going straight.
Either that or he doesn't have the wheel straight to begin with when he left the pit lane. Which happens, I mean, you know, when you're sitting on a flat area like pit lane, you say, okay, steering wheel straight. Then when you get up on the racetrack, it, like you said, Alan, it moves the wheel. So that's why you see a lot of cars stop on the pace lap and reposition the wheel on the racetrack.
The camber of the cars and the banking of the track and so on, if you let go of that steering wheel, the car's going to turn to the left.
Real hard.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Even on a track that appears flat, like Daytona's backstretch, it's still got a couple degrees banking to the left in it.
And like I say, these cars have what they call a little bit of lead in them a lot of times. So even if you're on a flat area and you let go of the steering wheel, it turns to the left.
And Kenny Wallace trying to get on the inside of Biffle. He's right there. Looks like his car's working pretty well, Dave.
It is, Benny. It's still a little bit tight, but that's better than they were at the beginning of their weekend. They're playing catch-up because they started off a little bit differently. They usually practice on race setup and then go to qualifying setup, but they didn't do that this weekend per Kenny's choice, and it put them kind of out to lunch. They qualified only 21st best, so they've been moving up through the field and now have a pretty good race car.
So Kenny Wallace moves into the 6th position. Picked up 15 spots since the very beginning.
Dover's not been a very good track for Kenny Wallace in NASCAR Busch Series competition. He's got only 4 top 10s here in 14 races. Right now, though, he's running in 6th. And while we're watching this, you're not missing a thing up front because Ryan Newman has left the field. He's out in front by 2 seconds on 2nd place, Matt Kenseth. 127 laps complete, 73 to go in the MBNA.com 200.